Hello, my lovely soul, and welcome to Unstoppable Confidence. I am your host, Lauren Glick. I am here to bring you my energy, my motivational speaking, and me being a confidence mentor. My mission is to inspire women to own who they are, step into their higher selves fearlessly, and live a life with unstoppable joy. On this show, we are going to cover everything from aligning your life to your higher self, setting boundaries, self-growth, and living a purpose-driven life. Let's get you living a meaningful life you cannot wait to wake up to. Stop driving and start living with ease and abundance. Cheers to living a magical life. And I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. Now, let's head into today's episode. Hello, my love. Today we have Maddie, Mads Tads on Instagram. She is a motivational speaker, a senior soul cycle instructor. She has a course called Wicked Fearless, a podcast called Wicked Fearless. This girl has been around the motivational, inspirational, and everything mindset game for a very long time. So, girl, if you were looking for some nuggets and things to help you get motivated, but also not just motivated, but also just disciplined in life. Girl, you need to keep listening in, and I will catch you on the other side of this recording. Let's go talk to Maddie. Goodbye. Let's go talk to Maddie now. So, hi, Maddie. Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely love you and all of the inspiration you bring onto Instagram with your audience. So thank you for being here today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we'd love for you to quickly introduce yourself or take as much time as you want to introducing yourself, Maddie. But first, let's hear what you got, girl.
Okay. Like, that's always such like how do you even do that? So I do a lot of different things. My name is Madison Ciccone. I live in Boston. I am a master instructor at Soul Cycle. I also do a lot of coaching beyond the bike with lifestyle and confidence and mindset type of stuff. It's really hard. I feel like calling yourself a life coach is so passe. Like, I think of that song that's like blase, blase, blase. But I feel like that's really what it is. Cause like most people that are like, hey, I like want to work with you. Like, they're like, I need to get some part of my life. Like some part of my life is shit and I want to fix it. And it's like, okay, well, let's do that. And it usually trails back to like lack of confidence or just feeling stuck or not having the right tools and practices and rituals or things in place to be that best version of you that we're all trying to achieve. And then I talk about. So that's kind of like I guess those are like my zone of genius. And yeah, I've been in Boston now for, I guess, going on 6 years. So
I love it.
Kind of like, that's where I'm at today.
Maddie is a podcast host as well.
Yes. Like, that's what I mean. Like I forgot half the things that I've done and I do on a daily basis, but yes, I do have a podcast. So the podcast is called Wicked Fearless. My coaching program is called Wicked Fearless, hence the whole being wicked fearless in general.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Wicked Fearless. Go check out her podcast 100%. I love you and your energy and your realness on your Instagram for sure. So thank you for being here and inspiring everyone on a daily basis. Cause I know you're everywhere and it is so challenging sometimes to like keep up. Like, where am I? Like, what day is this? Like,
now more so than ever. Right.
Yes. And cause how long have you been an entrepreneur for?
No, like I feel like that word is tough, right? Because I feel like so many of us have entrepreneurial spirit or entrepreneurial brains where we like you think of like, were you the kid that would sell lemonade on the side of the road? Were you making jewelry when you were in high school and selling it at your mom's salon? Like, so who can say how long I've been an entrepreneur? It's like, I think that I've had a very steadfast, like very type A, go get 'em tiger D1 spirit in me forever. That's never gone away. And I think as an adult, that's transitioned into sitting in places and, or like, getting fired from marketing job after marketing job. And then being like, well, F this. And then going the fitness route and realizing, oh, like, okay, I can create this type of magic for this room or do this thing. And then realizing like, oh, hey, I can also do this well beyond the four walls that I'm in right now. And so I don't know. That's like, I guess
I love that.
Forever.
Forever. I know. Me too. It's like, as you were mentioning, like making necklaces. I'm like, yeah, I've totally been on Etsy for at least, like, I remember like my mom finding Etsy in the newspaper being like, look, you can sell your artwork on this thing called Etsy. It was like,
it's so funny. I was just on Etsy looking for like a snowboard hood. Like they have everything on there. They have everything you've ever wanted on there.
Okay. To go back to SoulCycle, because you're a spin instructor. And I think it's really, because I love going to spin predominantly, not because it's the gnarliest workout ever, but like also because of the way that instructors talk when they are teaching. It's such a mindset game when you're in spin, first of all, because sometimes you're like, F this, it's too hot and am I going to die? Am I going to die? And I know you are really good with inspirational and motivational speaking. And I think that, like, as you were saying, Maddie, you're like, well, I could take this confidence building outside of SoulCycle. So did you learn that you were really good with motivating and inspiring people when you got hired with SoulCycle, or was it like something that you always knew that you had a passion for, like helping others build their confidence?
Yeah, I think there's a level of both there. Like that's kind of like a two-pronged thing. I think becoming who I am within the company and what I do and the following I've created and stuff has made me more confident in how I show up.
Yeah.
But I think that before that, I think it's intrinsic. I really think, yes, you can learn it. Yes, you can study it, but I think it comes from somewhere within, and what that is, I'm not sure whether that's some kind of like divine thing, but I think a lot of the attributes that I bring to inspiration, motivation, and coaching, things like that are just from, honestly, like I call that, like I've said it twice now, the D1 spirit has to do with,
I love that.
Yeah. I like coined that because I noticed a certain particular trait in a lot of people that played sports in college or, were extremely sport team athletic oriented. You find this different level of, there's just a different,
like tenacity
there.
Or something.
Yeah, there's something different there. And I think that I've always done that. Like I've always been a part of a team or some kind of sport or running after, literally running like track.
Were you, did you run track in college?
I didn't run track in college. Sport? I ran track in high school. I cheered through college. So I did mostly like cheerleading, dance, track. And then when I was younger, I did like everything, and then as you get older, you have to start to pick. But yeah, I think that it's really from that kind of mindset. You learn that kind of young. And then as you're older, you're like, wow, it's like that. Oh, well, this makes sense. Or like, oh, that transfers. And you don't really pick up on those skills necessarily when you're younger and you're like, this is going to be a skill that's going to take me beyond wherever. It's like, you're like, oh, that makes sense as an adult.
I love it. And I know where we were, because okay, Lauren, are you going to edit that out? No, you're not.
No, just like, go for it.
Okay. Because as we were talking before, like right now, it's such an interesting time to be on social media. Because I know literally right before recording this podcast, I was on a call with one of my mentors and he was like, Lauren, like this right now, as we were talking as well, like right now is such a challenging time to be on social media. And I was running into people that were not real. And where am I going with this, Maddie? Other than we might have to edit that out. But
I think that now particularly it's so funny because I mean, I'm in Boston, right? I said that. And so I'm in Boston. I actually was coaching my girls this past week, and I have a girl from Canada, which is really cool because it's like Wicked Fearless went international, which was like, yay, go Mads. It was like a little happy moment. Rad. It was cool. I was like, this is actually really cool. Like, don't downplay this moment.
Yeah.
But she was like talking about Blue January. And I like Googled it because I was like, fuck, is this some kind of
January?
Like, yeah, okay, exactly. I didn't know what it was either. I was like Googling it behind the scenes. Like, here I am Googling it because I thought it was like a tragic thing that might have happened in Canada and I didn't know about it. And I was like, shit. And no, it's apparently this time around, I think the day is like January 27th or something like that. I'm probably getting this wrong, but y'all have Google so you can figure it out. It's basically like the most depressing time of year because it's like all like the bills and everything starts to come in from like the holidays. And it's like this post-holiday hangover of like, it's just like supposedly the most gnarliest time of the year. And I personally feel that here in Boston. And I think it may be more East Coast if you're like in sunny California and life is like shining, or Florida where it's warm and there's like literally no fucking rules, you probably feel amazing. But like Boston City proper, it feels like a dog fight. Like I feel like it's Groundhog's Day every day. Like, are we going to get out of this? When's going to change? And so having like being like, I just think that mentally, like you can have every skill, every practice. You could have all the podcasts, all the things, doing the gratitude practice. You could have literally everything down pat and still be like, yeah, I want to get off the ride. Like, I want to get off the ride.
Yeah.
It's just a push through factor right now. Truly, like pushing through the last bit of this like shit situation and like, whatever you're in right now, it's kind of like the growth, like, you know, like the seedlings, and like hopefully the seeds that you're planting that push through will like come to fruition in spring when everything's like blossoming. And that's a very real thing right now, I think, for a lot of people.
It's definitely winter right now, like literally and figuratively.
Yeah, no, it's real. It's really real.
No, but I do like that of really understanding that Blue January is a thing. I'm going to have to research that. There's so many different terms in Canada than in the United States. Like I didn't know Canada had a different Thanksgiving. That's how off I was.
Yeah.
But if you were to, because I know you were just talking about like really understanding that just pushing through is what we get to do. Because you were also talking as well of Wicked Fearless, your group program, because you haven't really, do you have that program going right now? And what step are you on? Like, what are you going over in Wicked Fearless right now?
So we're in the second week, and I think this is where we start to really delve into more of the mindset stuff, or like determining where kind of like what got you to where you are and how to figure out, I'm trying to think of like what actually, I don't know it by heart. I have to look it up every time. But I talk about like Heart of a Champion. I know that's in the second week. And it basically talks about pulling from times in your life where you had like a winning spirit and putting yourself in that energy of like that winning spirit. And like, what would that person want? What would that person do? Because I think a lot of times we have to put ourselves in that energy. I always say you have to like, I had this whole thing a week ago where I was like, fake it till you make it. A lot of people harp on that. Like, oh, like, well, that's fake. And I'm like, no, you literally sometimes have to will your way into it. Like jump your body into motion so that it stays in motion. Otherwise, you'll lay down on the floor forever. Like I feel like that sometimes when I'm walking to class and it's 0 degrees and it's dark out. And I'm like, really? Like, we're doing this again. And people could be like, that sounds so like silly, but it is like, it would be so much easier to just like do nothing. And sometimes you literally have to like shock yourself into it. Like there have been plenty of mornings where I feel like my body's going to snap in half and I'm like, just start moving on the bike. And once you just throw yourself into it, it'll happen.
I remember a reel you did, Maddie, of like, I remember, and because I asked you, I was like, Maddie, can I redo that? I really liked it.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember you asking how, like, when people ask you how you have so much energy, and the answer was something that is, what is the law of momentum? Like something that's in.
Oh, an object in motion stays in motion. It's like, you got to keep going. Tony Robbins talks about that all the time. He has this, like, his new book coming out is all about like how to keep your energy up and like all the things that you can do to like, I mean, he's like on a whole nother level of like cellular, whatever, but like, it's true. Have you ever felt like I mean, it is an object in motion stays in motion. There's plenty of times where I literally would just be a puddle on the sidewalk and it's like, nope, get up, get going, like get going. Cause if you don't, you might not ever.
No, 100%. And that's why I was like, when I saw your reel, and this was like a year ago. So if you're on Maddie, what is your handle on Instagram?
So my handle on Instagram is Mads Tads. And that is really what most people call me, is Mads. And yeah, MADDZTADZ. That's my handle there. It's kind of like where everything goes down. Of course, I have what?
If you're on Maddie's Instagram, you have to scroll down like a year.
You might have to scroll down a long way, but it's definitely in there.
Such an old reel. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I need to redo that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I think it's just, every time I speak on a podcast, it's so funny because I feel like all the things that were like in my brain, like even when I was just in the shower, they're like coming up now and I'm like, this is totally relevant, but
I love it.
I was really going over like right now, motivation is going to run out. You could have, like I was just saying, like you could have all the things in the world. You could have somebody screaming at you, go get him, like, blah, go get him, tiger, whatever. But that is going to run out. And then it comes down to discipline and like just being in that level of like, nope, go here, do this, go. And it's like, just you don't even think about it because you're so like, you have the pattern down, you know where to be, how to do it. And you just show up for it. And there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And I think that's the main difference is people always want to change. I want to change. I want to change. I want to do this. And you and everybody has the same amount of time in a day, 24 hours. That's it. It's the only commodity you can't get back. You can be born broke, make a shit ton of money. You can have a shit ton of money, lose your money. You can gain it, lose it. Like every other like thing you could put your hands on, you could get more of or lose, except time is always that's like the infinite. You can never get that back. And so I think a lot of times when we talk about investing in yourself or doing things or how do I, people are always like, the number one thing, and I'm sure you find this, is I don't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't have enough fucking time either, but I make time. Like I have no time. I have zero time, none. There's none there. It's in a deficit, but somehow I'll create it. Yep. And that creating it is prioritizing things or switching things or moving things or saying, okay, fine, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to show up for myself. Like, I absolutely period. Love it.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that when motivation runs out, you have to have the discipline. And I think that really goes back to even when you're not feeling it and you're like, holy shit, this is just not going how it's planned. Or if you're on social media and you just have zero engagement right now, what you can do is just keep showing up, because if you don't, then it's like, well, what was the point?
I think it's like the only way you could lose is if you quit. I remember somebody said it to me a long time ago, and that like really makes sense. Like, that's really the only way you lose, like, is if you stop, is if you quit, if you stop playing the game and you walk off the field. Otherwise you're going to learn, or you're going to get better, or you're going to gain more skills, or you're going to figure it out, or you're going to be like, fuck this game, I want to go play another game. Like there's going to be a different outcome. But if you quit, then you're absolutely going to go nowhere. Like that's the definite.
And, I'm just going to be totally complete honest with my listeners today, is because I was coaching Clubhouse. And when I had that pivot of like, holy shit, this is not working anymore. Like, I don't feel comfortable bringing entrepreneurs onto this platform anymore. I had a moment of like, I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. But instead of giving up, I was like, what do I have to offer? And I mean, it was not necessarily like really diving into one platform, but it was like me being me. It was like a stupid like aha moment of like, Lauren, you did this before you were coaching Clubhouse. So what's the big deal? It's just a pivot, just be yourself and coach confidence on social media, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like those pivots in when you're completely not understanding like where to go. It's just like, keep showing up and the answer will come for sure.
Because it's going to happen. You will get rerouted. I remember one of my biggest aha moments was I was working for a MLM. I was working for Money, and I still love Money, and I use products, and I'll work with people who want to work with me, et cetera. But I remember I was working with one of my coaches at the time, and I was in like an accelerator of like how to like lead better, coach better, do whatever better. And I was sitting there and I just had this aha moment of like, why the fuck am I doing this for someone else's company? Like, I am showing up, teaching the same shit to people every single night, literally every single night. And they don't even have the fundamentals. And it was exactly what I said, like before we started like talking. I feel like you're coaching white belts on black belt things that are like, okay, you don't even have the fundamentals to do like a roundhouse kick. So we have to go back to like building your confidence, how to show up as like your true authentic self. It's like these 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 core principles that you need to literally just run your life and be successful at life. I don't care if it's real estate. I don't care if it's multi-level marketing. I don't care if it's entrepreneurship. I don't care if it's coaching. I don't care if it's whatever. It's like, if you don't possess these certain intangibles, it will not happen for you.
100%. And
like, it doesn't matter about anything else. If you can't put your face on social media, or you can't do X, Y, and Z, or you can't be real with people, or it's like these very core things. And I found myself saying the same thing every night. And I was like, I am in the wrong arena. Like, I'm in the wrong arena. And I found myself getting aggravated because I was like, and I think that's like, sometimes those aha moments are like expensive. I paid a bunch of money to be in that accelerator for MLM. And I was like, shit, like, but at least I got an answer out of it. And although I didn't get necessarily what I wanted, it became part of a different journey. And then I found a new coach, and then you find a new, and it keeps unfolding as you go, and you find new things as you like kind of go down the path. But sometimes those moments happen when you're like totally not expecting it.
I completely agree with you. And though you might think it's a path that is going like it was a diversion, it really leads you to the answers of what you're supposed to be. So like me coaching Clubhouse, like, was that a diversion? No, because I had so many networking opportunities, and it led me to what I absolutely love. And I absolutely love inspiring and just being me and coaching that confidence and those ground fundamentals. I like to call myself like that disruptor of people to really push them to go farther into what exactly they're doing. Because you're so right. It's like 100% mindset. Everything is what you think. And if you think you can't do something, you can't do it. Like, it's that simple. Right. And that's why I love really building strategy and mindset within a lot of business entrepreneurs. And that's what I'm really focusing in on this year.
That's cool.
For sure. And I know you teach a lot of mindset as well. And what is one thing that you would really like to, because I know there's a lot of things that we could focus in on in teaching mindset, but what is one thing that you consistently see that a lot of social media entrepreneurs, like in your group, what is one thing that you're consistently saying? Like, what is that like one thing that you're like, this is definitely one of those things that everyone seems to be needing to hear right now?
So it's something I say a lot lately. You got to go to know. And the reason why I say that is I'm in my 7th round of my program right now, which is awesome. And what I'm constantly hearing is, I've been watching you for a year. I've been wanting to do this several other times. I wanted to do this a year ago. I wanted to do this a couple months ago. And so I think my biggest thing is, you are never going to feel ready. You are always going to be scared. You are not going to feel like you are equipped, even though you innately are. You have everything you could ever need. It's like, the Wizard of Oz, like you've got the power all along. And you like, you got to go to no. So take the leap. Like,
absolutely love that.
It goes back to what I just said. The only thing you can't get back is time. So imagine if you joined something a year ago,
where you would be,
where you'd be. And I have proof of that now. Like, you'd be in a new job, you'd be getting promoted, you might be in a new city, you might have a new, like, but I think what you got to go to know is like, you're not going to gain the skills by, I would say you can't theorize and strategize and whatever, or study it. You have to live it. It's like that school of life complex. Like, you have to go to know, and that's it. You can't learn any other way.
100%. I totally agree with you of like, you're not going to get the confidence to go. You just have to do the thing in order to do the thing. And that's so much easier said than
no, it is 1,000%. Like, I think of like diving off a diving board or doing like a back handspring on a trampoline. I think that's like the best example I could give. I hadn't done a back handspring in years, and I was like somewhere where there was a trampoline, and I was so scared. And I was like, you just got to do the first one.
Yeah.
And then after you do the first one, you're like, all right, I can keep going. And then you just do it a million times. And it feels the same way. Like, once you do something once, then it's not as scary anymore. And that goes for showing up at a class you've never taken before. It's like, you have to do just that one initial like cannonball, and then you're fine. But you really can't like dip your toe. You're like, oh, maybe like whatever.
Like, maybe I'll do it.
Yeah. You have to just, you got to go to know.
I absolutely love that. Like, doing the scary thing every single day. And that's what I love telling people as well. It's like, you have to show up and do this scary thing to move the needle in your business, your entrepreneurship, your life. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck and not moving forward, which is,
and that scary thing could literally be like complimenting every person you come in contact with. That's one of my favorite things to make people do. Like, give someone a compliment to every person you come in contact with. Now, that's a little more challenging now because everybody's like in masks and like whatever, but figure it out. Like, figure it out.
Who wrote that book? Everything is Figure Outable.
Marie Forleo. Really good one.
It is a really good one.
So, and like, that might scare people, like putting them, like having conversations or putting themselves out there, but I think that the only way you get better at it is by doing it. It's just like the action. You have to be in that action, like in action, in motion, engage. And that's what will change things for
100%.
anyone.
And I want you to go over, because I know we just went over Marie Forleo's book, and I learned this from you of the books and opening it and finding the quote. Like, go over why you do that and what the process is.
Okay. So I got the process from Gabby Bernstein. Now, whether she does this and teaches this all the time, I'm not sure, but I've like read all of her books. I've gone to all her seminars. Like, I was like a very devout Gabby Bernstein fan. So basically what I do now, I think she does it, is I just will hold a book and I'll be like, universe, like, what do you got for me? God, like, I need help down here. Like, this is not it today. And then I open a book to whatever page, if like, if you're thumbing through it, whatever. And then usually you open it and it's pretty like, whoa, I'd say like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Or it's just a good read, but it works the same way. I feel like with like decks of cards, if you're like into like oracle cards and things like that, or affirmation cards, it's just like a way to change just like your mind when it's in like a shitstorm, or the chatter is really loud, or like I always say, like, get out of your own head. Like, your own voice saying whatever it's saying in your head is probably not the best, especially if it's like in a negative place. And I think that's one of the quickest, like, split-second moments to change your thoughts or your spirit or whatever.
I absolutely love that. And it's changing your state. So like it is very comparable to oracle cards, but you just don't need the oracle cards. You have the books that you already read, and you open it up, and whatever page you open it up to has a lot of insight on. And I think it goes back to, changing your state, but also being able to just kind of give insight and do a little self-thought assessment in that moment. So I absolutely love that, Maddie. So when I'm having a challenging day, I'm just like, okay, book, which one are you?
Well, it's like, it's definitely acknowledging, just being like, oh my gosh. And we all have it. Like, I felt that way this morning. I was like, I taught, and then I went to Barry's, and I was like, I'm just like not in a good mood right now. Like I'm not in my highest vibration right now. Like I'm just kind of like blah, like, and whether that be whatever the reason was, I was just like, okay, let's not feel like this all day.
Okay. Let me go back to that, Maddie. You said you taught spin and then you went to go work out at Barry's boot camp. Jesus.
Yeah. Barry's has been my, like, I have to go somewhere other than where I teach to spark my own like joy and get out of my own head. When you are teaching your own class, there are some moments where it's like out of body. Hell yeah. I gotta be honest. That's really not the vibe lately. Whether that's because I can't see people's faces, those moments are far and few between now. So I think that you have to go create magic in other places where you might have not had to do that before. So that for me has looked like different hobbies, going and working out different places, trying new things, like keeping it very fresh so that I don't just feel like I'm on a hamster wheel.
Do you go to different workout places? And this is just like nothing, but do you is Barry's like your place to work out? But it's interesting. Last night I was sitting on my phone being like, I wonder if there's new places around here to work out. Cause I wanted to, meet new people, go to a new environment, like get myself out of my comfort zone. Is that what you do on a pretty good basis, is go to different places to work out?
Yeah, I try. Obviously I teach a shit ton. So it has to, it's like a couple times a week maybe, but I try to, and I try to find other things that are fun. I've been like skiing a lot. So that's like sparking a lot of joy, which is tough because it's also an extremely physical thing. So it's like, I'm teaching 6 days a week and working out. And then on my day off, I'm going skiing. So I know that.
And so for anyone that hasn't gone to Soul Cycle, it is like the most insane spin class you will ever go to. It's like, I don't know, like it's so fast. And like, I hadn't been there in a really long time because COVID, and I went back once and I was like, oh my God, like I cannot even hang anymore.
Yeah, no, well, I bet you could. It's just like, you have to get back into the groove of things. It's like, if I tried to do like, it's like if I try to do like some kind of like crazy kick from dance, like I would be like, my foot's not going above my hips. So, which is really sad, but whatever. That's a story for another time. So I realize that is risky. I have to do a lot of rehab, prehab, like ice, post, like really be on top of it. But that's kind of like how I'm going through this now, because it's been very interesting the last it'll be 2 years in March. It's been extremely interesting for the fitness community.
Yeah, I bet. And that's a whole different story, especially with like Soul Cycle and being in an enclosed room with masks and a lot of heat. I mean, that in itself is a lot of mindset of getting up and getting motivated to be the motivational speaker of this spin class.
Well, I think that's what's also really interesting too. It's like, everybody's kind of like, I feel like a lot of people are probably vibrating lower. And so you're having to work
extra hard,
twice as hard as you ever worked, to try to get people just to like the medium, like the middle, not even like blow the roof off. So it's like it's like, so you know what I mean? Like they're down 100%. Here when they might've been here before. And then you got to be like way up here if they're way down here. And that has been, I think, cause I don't ever remember being like this mentally exhausted.
Oh,
and bet. We're still in a pandemic.
We still are in a pandemic.
That makes sense.
And I can't even imagine like trying to like talk in your mask, and in a lot of like facial recognition. I would assume it's very challenging with a mask on your face for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not my preference.
You're doing it, Maddie. You're inspiring so many right now.
My preference right now.
Not your preference. Sometime, I know in the near future, we're going to be able to take these masks off. I feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, you want it, like if the purpose is to create massive impact and you can't even look at someone's face, that's tough. I mean, like
Nice.
I go to church every week, and it's like, I know I'm close with the priest,
Yeah.
and he's very like old school. He's like Italian. He's very like mush. And that means like,
Yeah.
he is the way he is. He's so great. And like, I can even tell, it's like, as someone who has to get up and perform in front of people, I can even tell he's burnt out, and he's like a priest. Like, he's got like extra divine power, because he'll be like, is anything I'm saying hitting here, y'all? Like, and I'm like,
Shit.
yes, it is. Can we clap in here? Like,
no,
yeah.
I feel you on that. I mean, I used to teach fitness, but before COVID, I totally had a different trajectory. So I feel you, girl. Keep doing your thing. I want to say one last thing. I'm raising my hand. I know no one could see me over the podcast, but I want you to give one last inspiration. I love your inspiration. Like, you've been talking, I'm like, oh geez, man, that was a good one. Like, one last closing statement of inspiration to drive home today.
Inspiration to drive home today. I posted something the other day that I like, things that I was pulling from, or like 5 things that I've heard that I've really liked. And
She's pulling it up, folks. I missed it. I didn't see that one.
Oh, well, it didn't do great, in case you were wondering. And I spent
that's probably why.
It,
I think I like press the bell and have people. I press the bell on everyone that like I don't see anyone anymore.
I really was digging what if your rock bottom is just a stepping stone?
Yeah.
And I got that from listening to Stephen Furtick. He's a pastor at Elevation Church, which I don't know. It's somewhere. I want to say Maryland, Virginia, no idea.
Yeah.
I really liked that, because I think so often we think that our darkness discredits us from like getting to that next thing that we want to be, or we think that something that we've done or the way we've acted could hinder our next experience, whatever. And I think it's just like, no, it could just, I think everything, even if it's really shitty, has some kind of divine purpose for you to figure out kind of like how to step over it or step up onto it and then like elevate higher.
100% agree. I loved that, because I've been through some shitty times and I wouldn't have taken them back for anything, because if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah. But you can't say that in the moment. Like, I'm always laughing.
No, you can't.
Like this is going to be,
it's happening
for you. I'm like, literally die, like die. You've got like, it's like the Steve Jobs quote, you can only connect the dots looking back. And that's really how it is. And you can only laugh about it. Like, you can only laugh about how awful it was years and years later, after like a ton of work and like working it out and figuring it out. And yeah, it usually does become part of like your story or a chapter of your story, but it has to be well in the past before you can kind of be like,
oh, look, I could connect the dots now.
Yeah, I can connect the dots now.
So if you are in a winter period, or a period you're having a really challenging time with, just be gentle with yourself and know that it will soon. Yeah.
And I also say that a lot of times when I'm feeling really, really shitty, I'm usually like me. I'm making everything about me, what I need, what I'm doing. Why is this not happening for me? So I feel like when you feel like that, like bedrock of everything is you need a gratitude practice. If you don't have one, if you haven't done one, if you think it's stupid, I thought it was stupid too, start one, write down 5 things you're grateful for in the morning. If you don't do that and you find yourself in a place of like, woe is me, then immediately do it. Then write down 5 things you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, to pull me out of a spin like that is immediately get in service, because you can't be like, I'm so shitty at blah, 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 or like, this isn't working out for me, when you're like doing community service somewhere, or you're calling a friend to check in on them. And I mean, don't call them to like offload your baggage, like genuinely call someone else and ask them how they are. And I guarantee like 10 times out of 10, they'll be like, well, this is going on and this is going on. And you'll have like a better conversation. And it's not like to commiserate, but it's a lot of times like, oh, I'm just going to go through this shit by myself, when you really, I call it like casting a lifeline. Like you have all these people and friends all over the place, or people that you can connect with, or, you know, family or whatever. And you're just trying to have a go at it by yourself. And it's like, we're not meant to do life alone. We're not meant to go through these experiences alone. And I think we just default to being in our own head and like, oh, I'll figure it out, or they don't want to hear from me, or I don't want to make this like whatever. But I think that when you start to ask people like, okay, well, how are you? How are you? Like getting away from like the me narrative is really helpful. So like getting in service of some kind. And then also having the gratitude practices like medicine.
Girl, I don't know why, like I've been working on my mindset for years, right? But I hadn't heard that nugget until like last week. I was like, what? Like, I guess I had, and it just didn't click until last week, of that when you're in a shitty mindset, like stop focusing it on you.
Yeah. I think that it's kind of like we all hear different things and they like go through different channels.
Yeah.
And then one random person could say like the same exact thing, and then it just clicks for you.
It just hits differently.
Or you're like subconsciously have heard it for so long, and then it's like, we're bringing this to light today.
Well, Maddie, I literally love the way you talk, and you're so real, and you're just like one of those real people on social media. So first of all, thanks for being you.
I really try.
Thank you for being you.
For better or worse.
For better or worse. And two, where can people find you? I know we had your tag already, but what's coming up for you as well?
I really just feel like Instagram is where I do all the things. It's where I'll announce any like podcast drops or coaching programs or like private containers, or really any of the things I'm doing. I also have a website too, but I just feel like everyone's on Instagram all the time, kind of that, or like, you know, whatever. So I feel like that's just really the main source. I feel like I always say it goes down in the DM, which it does. So
it does.
Yeah.
Well, girl, I absolutely love you, your energy, your realness, and you're definitely one of those.
You're so kind. I appreciate it.
And I know everyone listening today appreciates you and your knowledge. So I wanted to say thank you again. And for you listening, we will. I hope you are so excited about where you're going, because I know I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for listening in today. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you shared it with a girlfriend or posted it on social media. Tag me so I could personally say thank you. I am so grateful. And until next time,